Hello, back again with Ancient Cosmography. I have some more stuff about the Red Hand of Ulster. So my working theory of the Red Hand of Ulster, which I'm getting pretty certain of, is that the Red Hand of Ulster. This is a painting of the Red Hand of Ulster from Ulster. That's where this tradition is maintained, basically. And so it shows this giant Finn McCool. It labels it as Finn McCool, the Celtic giant. The giant of Celtic lore, and he's competing with another giant to reach the shore of Ulster, and whoever touches it with his hand first becomes lord of it. So they're neck and neck. So this one cuts off his own hand and throws it at the shore, and thereby becomes lord. So I'm pretty sure that it represents that this arm of this giant is Argyll, of this Finn McCool guy. That's Argyll, and Kintyre and Knapdale. And then his hand here is in Antrim, so it's these reddish brown hills of Antrim, and this kind of shape along the coast that looks like a thumb and kind of fingers somewhat. And then, but I figured this out. I knew the story about the Red Hand of Ulster and the cutting the hand off and all that, but I didn't realize what it meant until I saw this 5,500-year-old map of Britain, where he seems to be holding Ireland via that peninsula, the Argyll Peninsula of Knapdale and Kintyre. And he's also holding it with this harness, which seems to be Wales here. And so he's holding Ulster, but then it seems to delineate the three western provinces as the three heads of these three hostages. So he's holding Ulster by the head. And, so anyway, that made me start zooming in on this a lot, on Argyll. And anyway, somehow I pieced it together that this relates to the Red Hand of Ulster. So I went trying to find the hand. I realized that this likely is the kind of stump of the giant's, stumpy arm. And so I was looking for the hand somewhere, and I wasn't clear because it said he threw it. So I didn't know how far he threw it, so I was looking all silly other places. But, it took me a minute, but then I realized it must be this. That's the hand. So, let's see, 65, 64, 63. Yeah. So the ancient Irish god, let's see, or maybe this one. What's this? No, yeah, that's that. Well, I'll just read from here, I guess. The ancient Irish god Nuada Ergetlam, Nuada the Silver-Handed, was also known by the alias Nuada Derglam, the Red-Handed, amongst other aliases. So that could relate to this as well. Nuada is stated in the Book of Lecan as being the ancestor of the Eoganachta and Dalgaches of Munster. Lugaid Lamderg is a legendary figure who appears in the Book of Leinster and the chaotic past of the descent of the Dalgaches. His epithet meaning Red Hand was transferred to Lugaid mean around the start of the Irish historic period. Labraid Lamderg, Red Hand Labraid, is a character in the Fenian cycle of Irish mythology. So a character in the Fenian cycle, that's the cycle of Finn McCool. So he could be like one of the Fenians, because Finn McCool, I'm not sure if he's part of one of the Fenians or if he's the totality of the Fenians when they are rendered as one avatar. But I think these are land gods that basically represent Britain and Ireland. The Annals of the Four Masters mentions Richte Reidirg as a High King of Ireland. He gained the name Richterg, according to Geoffrey Keating, as he had an arm that was exceeding red. Richte is listed as the great-grandson of Lugaid Lamderg, Cathal Crobdirg Ua Conchaber, otherwise known as Cathal the Red-Handed O'Connor, was a king of Connacht in the early 13th century. There is a poem that is attributed as having been composed between 1213 and Cathal's death in 1224, which makes frequent reference to Cathal's red hand. A Dermot Lamderg is cited by Meredith Hanmar in his Chronicles of Ireland. First published in 1633 as being King of Leinster, who fought a battle around the start of the 5th century against an army of marauders at Knocknagan near Dublin. The Kavanaghs of Boris, County Carlow, descend from Dermot Kavanagh Lamderg, Lord of St. Mullins, the second son of Gerald Kavanagh, Lord of Ferns. Gerald was descended from Domhnall Comhanach, son of Diarmait Mercada, King of Leinster. The Kavanaghs of Kildare that became part of the Protestant ascendancy are kin to the Kavanaghs of Boris, and according to their own traditions claim descent from a Cathair Ruach Comhanach, who is said to descend from Lamderg Red Hand branch of the Comhanach clan. Quatrain 78 of the classical Irish poem Cairnfrach makes mention of blah blah blah, translated as a descendant, daughter of the red-handed kings of Leinster. This poem, as well as the related poem blah blah blah, the burial place of Frux, mention a burial place of Frux hand. So that could be referring to Antrim. The Antrim Hills. Glur Lamderg, or Glur the Red-Handed, was a king of the Lamra and allegedly the stepfather of Finn McCool. So there, the red-handed stepfather of Finn McCool. So that also brings it into the Fenian cycle. Fenian cycle of Irish mythology. The Lamreg are claimed as descending from Lamha, son of Conchobar Macnessa, legendary king of Ulster. So yeah, that's pretty interesting that he's the father of Finn McCool, the giant. So that whereas in this other version, it is Finn McCool who has the red hand. Another historian, F.J. Elworthy, according to Bigger, conclusively proved. Oh wait, no. The dexterity or right hand of God. Okay, well, that's some other bullshit. I don't think that's some people trying to make it into some Christians, turn a pagan symbol into a Christian symbol. Like, that's a whole profession. There's been a whole industry over the last few centuries of or a couple millennia of just trying to take pagan stuff like Christmas and try to pretend it has to do with Christianity. So another historian, F.J. Elworthy, according to Bigger, conclusively proved the ancient character and widespread usage of the symbol amongst early pagan civilizations. According to Charles Vallancey in 1788, a red hand pointing upwards was the armorial symbol of the kings of Ireland, and that it was still in use by the O'Brien family, whose motto was Lam Ladir an Uachtar, meaning the strong hand up, or the strong hand will prevail. Hands feature prominently in Dermot O'Connor's 18th century publication Blazons, an Irish heraldic terminology, with O'Firgal Sept bearing the motto Lam Derg Clochad Lupta. Thanks. Yeah, don't translate it for me or anything. Thanks, Wikipedia. In some Central European armorials of the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, the Kingdom of Galicia is represented by a coat of arms with a red hand or a red glove. It may be due to the phonetic similarity between Gaelic and Galician. Canting arms used to do this deliberately or by confusion, such as Galis, Calis, or Daragon, dragon, or by the assimilation of the Galician people with the Milesians, people of Briogan. The most common heraldic shield in Galicia, as an autonomous region or as a kingdom, is a grail with crosses or shamrocks from the 13th century to the present day. In the 17th century, St. James of Compostela, that's kind of funny. Santiago de Compostela became, according to the Bishop Thomas Strong, uncle of Thomas White, founder of the Irish College of Compostela after the flight of the Earls, the true capital of the Irish people in exile. So in the early 1600s, the kind of princes of Ulster and probably much of Ireland fled Ireland because the English were, taking over and kicking them out and killing them and sometimes directly deporting them. So, basically the whole Irish, upper class, they all moved to Spain and France mostly. And so their descendants still are now Spanish and French. Coat of arms of Kingdom of Galicia in Miltenberg Armorial. Coat of arms of Galicia. That's 2. Coat of arms of Galicia. Coat of arms of Galicia in another German armorial, 17th century. Coat of arms of Monaghan. The form in common use is an open right dexter hand colored red with the fingers pointing upward, the thumb held parallel to the fingers and the palm facing forward. The red hand features in other Irish clan coats of arms, including the O'Donnellys and yada yada. On the O'Neill and Donnelly coat of arms, the motto is Lam Dirg Irene, Red Hand of Ireland. The arms of the chiefs of the Scottish clan MacNeil, which I'm descended from. I think I'm descended from a Scottish George MacNeil who moved to North Carolina. Was a regulator rebel, and I think was at King's Mountain battle. The arms of the chiefs of the Scottish clan MacNeil of Barra contain the Red Hand. The clan has traditionally claimed descent from Niall of the 9 hostages. So, there's all these stories of Niall of the 9 hostages and of other hostages in this mythology. So I think it relates to these type of hostages. Many other families have used the Red Hand to highlight an Ulster ancestry. The head of the Guinness family, the Earl of Iveagh, has 3 red hands on his arms, granted as recently as 1891. Good Lord, does this really go on this far? The Red Hand is present in the arms of a number of Ulster's counties, such as Antrim, which certainly would make sense for this, Cavan, Londonderry, Monaghan, and Tyrone. It also appears in the Ulster banner and is used by many other official and non-official organizations throughout the province.